She only wanted to send a secret message to her friend, but one careless tap sent it straight to her fiancé. Within minutes, her phone rang, and the conversation that followed threatened to change her wedding and her future forever. What happened next was something she never expected. Hello family, welcome to Tales by King. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. Clara Benson sat quietly by the small wooden desk near the window of her apartment. The evening sun was slowly fading, painting the sky with soft orange colors. Normally, this peaceful moment would make her feel calm, but tonight her heart felt heavy. Her phone rested on the table in front of her, the screen lighting up again and again with wedding planning messages, dress fittings, guest confirmations, decoration updates. Everything was almost ready for the big day. In just 3 weeks, she would become Mrs. Clara Hart. Anyone who looked at her life from the outside would think she was the happiest woman in the world. She was engaged to Daniel Hart, a kind, patient, and successful young engineer who treated her with respect and care. He never raised his voice at her, never ignored her feelings, and always made her feel safe. Yet, inside her heart, Clara carried a quiet fear. There was something she had never told Daniel, a part of her past she had hidden for years. It was not something illegal or evil, but it was something deeply personal that she worried might change the way Daniel saw her. Many times, she had planned to tell him, but each time she lost the courage at the last moment. That evening, the pressure became too heavy to ignore. She knew she could not enter marriage while still hiding something important. She needed advice first, someone who would understand her without judging her. Naturally, she thought of her best friend, Melissa, the one person who had always stood by her through every difficult moment. Clara picked up her phone and opened the chat with Melissa. Her fingers stayed still for a few seconds as she stared at the empty message box. She inhaled slowly, then finally began to type. Melissa, I think I have waited too long. I need to tell Daniel the truth before the wedding. I am scared he may not understand, but I cannot continue hiding it anymore. She paused, thinking carefully about her words. Then she continued typing, explaining how the secret had weighed on her heart for years, how she feared losing the man she loved, and how she did not know the best way to start the conversation with him. Her hands trembled slightly as she wrote the final sentence. Do you think he will still feel the same about me after I tell him? Clara read the message twice to be sure everything was clear. She did not want to send something confusing. Taking a deep breath, she pressed send quickly before fear could stop her. For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly her eyes widened. The message was not under Melissa's name. It was under Daniel's name. Her heart skipped a beat. No, 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 she whispered, quickly opening the message to confirm. There it was, the entire confession sitting in Daniel's chat box. Her hands started shaking so badly that she almost dropped the phone. She tried to delete the message, but it was already marked delivered. Clara felt her chest tighten. A cold wave of fear ran through her body. What have I done? She whispered, staring at the screen in disbelief. The room suddenly felt very quiet. Even the ticking of the wall clock sounded louder than usual. She sat down slowly on the chair, her mind racing with frightening thoughts. Would Daniel misunderstand the message? Would he think she had been dishonest with him all this time? Would he start doubting their entire relationship? Clara covered her face with both hands, trying to breathe slowly. She knew there was nothing she could do now. The message had already reached him. All she could do was wait. And at that moment, waiting felt like the hardest thing she had ever done. She stood up and began walking slowly around the room, then stopped, then walked again. Her mind kept imagining different situations. Daniel reading the message while at work, Daniel feeling hurt, Daniel calling to ask questions she was not ready to answer. The phone stayed silent. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Clara checked the screen again. Still nothing. The silence felt worse than an immediate reaction. She wondered if Daniel was too shocked to reply, or if he was thinking carefully about what to say. She tried to distract herself by pouring a glass of water, but even holding the glass felt difficult because her hands were still shaking slightly. She sat down again and looked out the window. Cars moved slowly along the street below, people walking home after work, laughing and talking as if nothing unusual had happened. For a moment she wished life could also feel normal for her. Then suddenly, her phone vibrated. Her heart jumped. It was Daniel calling. Clara froze. She stared at the screen, her thumb hovering above the answer button. For a second, fear almost made her reject the call, but she knew that avoiding him would only make things worse. She pressed answer. "Hello," she said softly. Daniel's voice came through calm but serious. "Clara, I just read your message." She swallowed gently. I am sorry. I meant to send it to Melissa. It was a mistake." There was a short pause before Daniel spoke again. "I understand," he said gently. "But since I have already seen it, I think we should talk about it properly. Can we meet tonight?" Clara felt her chest tighten again, but she nodded even though he could not see her. "Yes, of course. Let's meet at Riverside Cafe," Daniel suggested. "The same place we first met." "Okay," she replied quietly. After the call ended, Clara sat still for a moment, holding the phone in both hands. The meeting was now real. There was no more hiding, no more waiting for the perfect time. The truth would finally be spoken tonight. She walked slowly to her bedroom and opened the wardrobe, not really thinking about what to wear. Her mind was busy preparing for the conversation ahead. She kept asking herself the same question again and again. Will he still look at me the same way after tonight? As she changed her clothes, she remembered the first day she met Daniel at the cafe. How kind he had been, how easily they had started talking, and how their friendship had slowly grown into love. The memory gave her a small sense of courage. Clara looked at herself in the mirror. Her face showed nervousness, but there was also determination in her eyes. She knew something important. Running away would not solve anything. Tonight, she would face Daniel honestly. Taking a deep breath, she picked up her bag. Walked down the staircase of her apartment building with slow, careful steps. The night air outside felt cool against her skin, but it did not calm her heart. Her thoughts were moving too fast. As she waited by the roadside, she kept checking her phone, even though there was nothing to check. She simply needed something to hold on to, something that made her feel less helpless. A taxi stopped in front of her. "Riverside Cafe?" the driver asked. Clara nodded and entered quietly. As the taxi moved through the city, bright streetlights passed by the window like glowing lines. The roads were busy, but Clara felt alone inside her mind. She tried to practice the words she would say to Daniel. How do I explain it without sounding like a liar? How do I make him understand that I was only scared? The taxi finally slowed and stopped. Clara paid and stepped out. Across the street, she could already see the warm lights of Riverside Cafe. It looked the same as it always had, soft yellow bulbs, a small signboard, and quiet music flowing out through the door. Clara stood outside for a moment, gathering courage. Then she pushed the door open. The smell of coffee and sweet pastries welcomed her, but her eyes went straight to Daniel. He was seated at a corner table near the window. He wore a simple dark shirt, his sleeves slightly folded. He looked up immediately when she entered, and for a second, Clara could not read his face. He was not smiling like he usually did, but he also did not look angry. He looked serious, thoughtful. Daniel stood up. "Clara," he said softly. Clara walked over, her feet feeling heavy. She sat down slowly. Daniel sat opposite her. For a few seconds, they just looked at each other, the air between them filled with unspoken fear. Then Daniel spoke first. "I'm glad you came," he said. Clara tried to speak, but her throat felt tight. She cleared it gently. "I didn't plan for you to see that message," she said, her voice trembling. "I truly didn't." Daniel nodded once. "I understand it was a mistake." He paused, then added carefully, "But Clara, the message was not just small talk. It sounded like you were carrying something heavy." Clara's hands were on her lap, gripping her bag strapped tightly. She looked down at the table. "I am," she whispered. A waitress came to ask what they wanted, but Daniel politely shook his head. "Not yet, thank you." When the waitress left, Daniel leaned slightly forward, his voice gentle but firm. "Clara, I'm not here to judge you," he said. "I'm here because I love you. But I need you to talk to me. What is the truth you are afraid to tell me?" Clara's eyes began to burn. She blinked quickly, but tears still formed. For a moment, she almost said, "It's nothing," just to escape the conversation. But she knew that would destroy everything. Not the secret itself, but the dishonesty. She took a deep breath. "It's about my past," she began slowly. Daniel stayed quiet, giving her space. Clara swallowed, then continued. "Before I met you, I went through something that changed how I trust people," she said. "I was younger. I thought I knew what love was. I trusted someone with my heart, and I believed his words." Her voice broke slightly. She paused to steady herself. "That person didn't just disappoint me," she whispered. "He used my kindness. He made promises he never meant to keep. And when everything fell apart, I was left carrying shame that wasn't even mine. Daniel's eyes softened. He did not interrupt. He only listened. Clara wiped her tears quickly with her fingers and forced herself to continue. I never told you because I was scared, she admitted. Not because I wanted to hide something forever, but because I didn't want you to see me as damaged. I didn't want you to look at me and feel like you made a mistake choosing me. Daniel's jaw tightened slightly, not in anger, but in emotion. He looked down for a second, then back up. Clara took another deep breath, her words becoming clearer. The truth is, I have been afraid that if you knew everything I went through, you might start questioning who I am, she said. You might think I am not the kind of woman you plan to marry. She finally looked into Daniel's eyes. I am the same Clara you love, she said softly. But I have a past that hurt me, and I didn't know how to explain it without losing you. Silence fell again. Clara's heart pounded as she waited for Daniel's response. She felt like her whole future was sitting on the edge of his next words. Daniel slowly exhaled, as if he had been holding his breath for a long time. Then he reached his hand across the table, not touching her yet, but placing it near hers, close enough to show he was not pulling away. Clara, he said quietly, look at me. She lifted her face fully. Daniel's eyes were steady. Do you know what hurts me the most? Clara's breath caught. What? Daniel's voice was soft. That you suffered alone in your heart while you were sitting beside me. Clara's tears fell again, but this time, the fear inside her began to shake. Daniel continued. I don't love you because you have a perfect past. I love you because of who you are now. You are kind. You are honest. You fight to stay good even after pain. That is not weakness, Clara. That is strength. Clara stared at him, surprised. She had expected questions, maybe anger, maybe distance. But she was hearing acceptance. Still, a small part of her remained afraid. Because her secret was not finished yet. There was still one final part she had not said. The part she had been most terrified to speak. Her lips trembled again. Daniel, she whispered, there is more. Daniel's expression became serious again, but he didn't look away. Tell me, he said. Clara's chest rose and fell quickly as she tried to find the courage to say the remaining words. Her fingers tightened around the strap of her bag under the table. The cafe suddenly felt too warm, even though the air conditioner was on. The soft music in the background sounded far away, like it belonged to another world. Daniel watched her quietly, giving her time. His eyes were steady, not harsh. But Clara could still feel how important this moment was. She swallowed hard. Daniel, the reason I panicked is because I know weddings bring families together, she said slowly. And when families come together, past things sometimes come back. Daniel's eyebrows pulled together slightly. What do you mean? Clara's voice dropped to a whisper. The man from my past, he is not completely gone. Daniel's face changed immediately. Not anger. Not jealousy. Just shock and concern. He's back. Daniel asked. Clara nodded, her eyes filling again. Not in my life, but he tried to come back. She looked down quickly, embarrassed, as if she was confessing a crime. 2 months ago, she continued, I saw him at the shopping mall. I didn't even notice him at first. I was walking out of a store when I heard someone call my name. Clara's throat tightened as she remembered the moment. I turned and I saw him. He smiled like nothing happened. Like he did not break me, she said, her voice shaking. Daniel's hands clenched slightly on the table. He still didn't interrupt, but Clara could see something protective rising in him. Clara took a deep breath and forced herself to continue. He came close and said, Clara, you look good. I've missed you. She shook her head slowly. It made me feel sick. I told him to leave me alone. Daniel leaned forward. What did he do? Clara let out a shaky breath. He laughed, she said bitterly. Then he said he heard I was getting married. He said he just wanted to clear the air. Clara's eyes became wet again. But Daniel, he didn't want to clear anything. He wanted to disturb my peace, she said. He told me he regretted leaving, that he had changed, and then he started sending messages. Daniel's mouth tightened. He has been texting you. Clara nodded quickly. Yes. I blocked him. He used different numbers. I blocked those too. Then he started sending messages through social media. I blocked him there as well. She wiped her cheek, ashamed. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to bring trouble into your life, she whispered. I didn't want you to think I was surrounded by drama. I just wanted us to have a quiet, happy wedding. Daniel's eyes narrowed slightly. Clara, That isn't drama. That is someone bothering you. Clara nodded. I know, but I kept hoping he would stop. She paused, then said the most painful part. The truth is, he threatened me. Daniel's head lifted. Threatened you how? Clara's voice became very small. He said if I didn't talk to him properly, he would come to our wedding, she admitted. He said he would tell people lies about me, things that would embarrass me. He said he would make me look bad, so you would doubt me. Daniel sat back in his chair, his face frozen for a moment. The calm Daniel was still there, but Clara could see his shock. His eyes widened slightly as he processed what she had just said. Clara hurried to explain, afraid he might misunderstand. I didn't reply him, she said quickly. I never encouraged him. I only kept blocking him. I didn't tell you because I thought I could handle it alone. But the closer the wedding got, the more scared I became. She took a deep breath, her voice cracking. That is why I wrote Melissa, she whispered. I wanted her advice. I wanted to know if I should finally tell you everything before it becomes a bigger problem. Daniel was silent. But this time, the silence was not empty. It was full of thought. Clara waited, her heart beating painfully. Then Daniel spoke, his voice firm but gentle. Clara, I need you to listen to me carefully, he said. Clara looked up. You are not alone, Daniel continued. Not in this. Not anymore. Clara's lips parted slightly. She didn't know what to say. Daniel leaned forward again, his voice stronger now. Do you still have those messages? He asked. Clara nodded. Yes. I kept them. I didn't delete anything. Good, Daniel said. Because that means we have proof. Clara stared at him, surprised. Proof. Daniel nodded. Yes. Because what he is doing is not love. It is harassment, he said. And if he thinks he can threaten you and disturb our life, he is wrong. Clara's breath shook. Daniel, I'm scared. Daniel's eyes softened again. I know, he said quietly. But fear becomes smaller when you don't carry it alone. He paused, then added, This is not a reason to cancel our wedding. This is a reason to protect you. Clara felt fresh tears fall, tears of relief mixed with fear. But what if he actually comes? She whispered. Daniel's face became serious in a way Clara had never seen before. If he comes, Daniel said slowly, he will meet me first. Clara blinked. Daniel. Daniel's tone was calm, but there was power in it. I will not allow anyone to threaten the woman I love, he said. Clara breathed in slowly, trying to calm herself. For the first time since the accidental message, she felt something she had not felt in days. Hope. But just as Clara began to relax, Daniel's phone buzzed on the table. He glanced at it quickly, and his expression changed. He looked up at Clara, eyes focused and tense. Clara, he said carefully. Clara's heart jumped again. What is it? Daniel turned the phone screen slightly toward her, and the message on his screen made Clara's stomach drop. It was from an unknown number, and it said, So you finally told him. Good. Tell your fiancé I will see you both soon. Clara's eyes froze on the message displayed on Daniel's phone. For a second, she could not breathe. Her fingers slowly tightened around the edge of the table as the words repeated themselves in her mind. So you finally told him. Good. Tell your fiancé I will see you both soon. Her voice came out almost as a whisper. Daniel, that must be him. Daniel's jaw tightened slightly, but his voice remained calm. Yes. It looks like he has been watching your social media or somehow found my number. Clara felt a wave of fear rise inside her again. What if he actually comes to the wedding? Daniel turned the phone face down on the table and looked directly into her eyes. Clara, listen to me, he said gently. Threats only have power when we hide from them. We are not hiding. Clara nodded slowly, trying to steady herself. Daniel then reached for her hands across the table and held them firmly, this time without hesitation. We will handle this the right way, he continued. We will save every message, report him if necessary, and inform the event organizers so security will be prepared. He will not ruin our day. Clara felt warmth spread through her chest. For the first time since she saw her ex-boyfriend again, she no longer felt alone. That night, after leaving the cafe, Daniel walked her to her apartment and made sure she was calm before leaving. Before he stepped away, he said quietly, Nothing about your past changes my decision. I am still marrying you. Not because life is perfect, but because love means standing together when things are not perfect. Clara watched him leave, her heart filled with a new kind of peace. The days leading to the wedding passed quickly. Daniel helped Clara report the threatening messages, and security arrangements were quietly strengthened at the venue. Clara still felt nervous sometimes, but every time fear tried to return, Daniel reminded her, "We face things together." Finally, the wedding day arrived. The church was decorated with simple white flowers and soft golden ribbons. Guests filled the seats, smiling and chatting softly while waiting for the ceremony to begin. Clara stood at the entrance with her close friends, holding her bouquet tightly. Her hands trembled slightly, but not from fear anymore, from emotion. As the doors opened and the music began, she walked slowly down the aisle. Daniel stood at the front, his eyes fixed on her with the same warm smile he had always given her. In that moment, every fear that had followed her for months seemed to fade away. During the ceremony, Clara found herself remembering the accidental message, the mistake she once wished she could erase. But now she realized something unexpected. That mistake had forced honesty into their relationship at the exact moment they needed it most. After they exchanged vows and the guests applauded, Daniel leaned closer and whispered softly, "You know something?" Clara smiled nervously. "What?" "That message you sent by mistake," he said gently, "was not a disaster. It was the moment we stopped hiding anything from each other." Clara laughed quietly, her eyes shining. At the reception later that evening, everything went smoothly. No unexpected interruptions came. The threatening messages stopped completely after the official report, and Clara realized something important. Sometimes the people who try to scare us are only strong when they believe we are weak. As the celebration continued, Daniel lifted his glass for a short speech. "I want to thank everyone for being here," he said warmly. "Today is not only about two people getting married. It is about trust, the kind of trust that grows when two people choose honesty, even when it is difficult." He looked at Clara and smiled. "And I am proud to spend my life with a woman brave enough to tell the truth, even when she was afraid." Clara felt tears of joy fill her eyes as the guests clapped again. Later that night, as they stepped outside the hall for a quiet moment, Clara looked at Daniel and said softly, "I was so scared that my past might destroy my future." Daniel shook his head gently. "The past only controls us when we hide from it. When we face it together, it becomes just a story we survived." Clara smiled, her heart calm and full. The accidental message she once feared had not broken their relationship. Instead, it had revealed something stronger than fear, a love built on honesty, courage, and the simple promise that no matter what came next, they would always stand side by side. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you find this story worth watching. If you do, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories, like, comment, and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thanks for watching.